Yes. So as I was saying, Carrie and I are both detoxification specialists, and I'll be bringing more guests that are on this path and studied with Dr. Morse. And we are so, so passionate about sharing this message of true health and regenerative healing and what it means and what it takes and why it's the missing link for so many people and so many people's health journeys. And so it is our intention and our passion to help people find information that is not necessarily available in the mainstream channels. And so that's why I'm excited to talk to people like Carrie. And the thing that I am bringing here today with Carrie, and both Carrie and I were like, oh my God, we're so excited to talk about it. I don't have the experience yet of being a parent, being pregnant, doing this. So I see it as a crucial and absolutely essential piece in our evolution as a species and as our strength and health as a species, to actually make sure that our genes are strong and that we pass on strong genes onto the next generations and onto our children. And I see so many mamas that struggle with unnecessary struggles and unnecessary sufferings in their own bodies during pregnancy, prior to pregnancy, post-pregnancy, and then dealing with the same issues with their kids. And I know that there's solutions to that. I know that there are answers to that. And I'm so excited that I have people like Carrie that can actually bring on, and she can share from her own personal experience of how she prepared herself before conception. What did she do during pregnancy? How is she raising her children? And to help other mothers and other parents and other families to see that there are solutions to so many of the things that we consider to be as normal. And what is common doesn't necessarily mean is normal. We just classified things as normal because that's what most people experience. However, though, it's so far away from what was intended for us to experience as human on this planet. So with absolutely delight, let me just switch the speaker view as well. With absolute delight, I want to introduce Carrie Tidwell. She is based in Minnesota, outside of Minneapolis. As I said, she is a detoxification specialist. I believe also a massage therapist. And she's a mother, and she's a beautiful being. And I'm going to let her share about her journey, what brought her into regenerative healing, and the gifts that she has discovered on this path. And then we'll go into talking about being a healthy parent, preparing your body for pregnancy, and how to raise kids in a lifestyle that may seem a bit different, but again, we are making it the new normal. So Carrie, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, if you just want to introduce yourself first, and just your journey and how you came about and discovered Dr. Morse and this lifestyle and regenerative healing, what that has brought into your life.
Okay, thank you, Noah, and thank you for bringing this topic and subject together, because it's very near and dear to my heart, because I struggled with health stuff as a child, and I always thought, if I have kids, I don't want them to go through all the stuff that I had to go through. And so it's such a beautiful way to understand the body on a deeper level, so that way we can, like you said, pass down healthier genes to our kids and future generations. And so yeah, just want to thank you for putting this together, and I'll start with my story and explain kind of what I went through and what I overcame, and now what I'm doing with my own kids. And so I now know how to like literally turn on and off inflammation in my body. I know what foods help me feel well and what foods give me discomfort, but it wasn't always that way. I struggled a lot with digestive stuff. I grew up on antibiotics. I had chronic ear infections as a kid, and I remember we had a pool and I couldn't go swimming in the pool, and I was like, why am I getting ear infections, and like my sister weren't and my brother wasn't. I didn't understand like why this kept happening to me. And they were like, oh, it's from bacteria in the water. And so I was like, well, I just didn't get that. had to do with my terrain, and I'll get into the details of that. But so I struggled with that, and that was hard as a kid because you want to go swimming, and so that was difficult. But further down the line, that I had digestive stuff, I had major bloating, weight problems, that grew into discomfort with every time I ate. I felt like something just wasn't right, and I didn't know what it was. And then as I got older, when I was 19 in school for massage, I remember my legs totally gave out on me and I couldn't walk one day, and I had major sciatica. And so I just kept accumulating all these things, but not understanding what the root was. Why was this happening to me? And I remember, I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but my energy level, I remember not wanting to get out of bed in the morning. And every time my alarm went off, I'd want to hit snooze until the very last second. And then I dreaded getting out of bed because I had such chronic pain in my lower back. I literally couldn't stand up straight. I had to like slouch over and like slowly get my body going. And I thought it was my bed's fault. Like I was like, it's my bed, I must need a new bed. I'd spend thousands of dollars on beds thinking, because it happened in the morning. And then I was like, oh, it's probably from my dad. He had a bad back. So then maybe that's why I have a bad back. And I was a fast pitch softball pitcher. And so in the mornings, the shoulder wouldn't go down. I'd be like stiff and it would hurt. And so I didn't know where all the stiffness and tightness was coming from. And that's why I got into massage, to help that, because massage helped me so much. But it still like came back the next day. And I have a huge passion for helping people with their health and with massage and helping people feel better. But I still wanted to help people more than just massage. Like, are they having to keep coming in? And why did my dad struggle with all this chronic pain and all his back surgeries and all this stuff? And then he was on medications and different things. And I was like, could this have been avoided if we knew something different? And so I've always been in search for the truth about health and wanting to know why things happen. And I remember growing up, like most people, eating cereal and looking at the cereal label, thinking I was getting all these vitamins from the side panel. I'd be like, oh, I'm getting, all these different vitamins from the cereal. And so I would eat bowl after bowl thinking like I was doing something good for my body. And I thought dairy was good. So, I drank milk a lot. And I had no idea it was just further congesting my body. And so a lot of like what you were saying, what we consider normal is just not normal. It's just common. I was doing what was normal eating, and it was causing me a lot of discomfort and pain. And I knew it was something had to do with the food. I just didn't know what, because I didn't have that guidance. Everyone knows we should eat more fruits and vegetables, but I didn't understand, well, then why is this on the shelf if it's not good for me? And so I ended up having a lot of pieces of the puzzle. As I transform my diet and change things up, I would notice a little bit of results. And it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I was sitting on my sister's couch and she was looking in my eyes and she could tell me what was happening in my body. And I was like, how do you know that? And she's like, I took this iridology class. And I was like, I want to learn more about this, because I want to get to the root of why I'm having all this pain in my body. I feel like I'm 80 and I'm only 20. Like, what's happening? Or that was back in my 20s where I was feeling really, really chronic pain with that. And so her husband found this guy on the internet, a video of Dr.Morse talking about the eyes and sharing his knowledge about the body and how to get to the root of things. And it, like a light bulb clicked for me, like a light switch went on, and I was like, this is it. This is like the missing link, like you were saying, that I've been searching for my whole life. Because I just struggled with all those different things. And once I learned it took my mind a little while to wrap around the idea, but it did click right away. But I was like, wait a second. So I have to like let all this other stuff go. Like I had a really hard time because I was attached to certain foods. Because I was definitely not a picky eater. If someone put something in front of me, I just ate it. That's just, that's how I was raised. You just eat what's in front of you and eat all of it until it's gone. And that just developed, habits too of overeating. So I felt like I was overfed and undernourished for so long until I learned this information. So I applied what I learned and got incredible results just within a short few months. And I couldn't believe it. And then once I learned you pass down your genetic strengths and weaknesses to your kids. It was like, I wanted more. I had a daughter already, and I didn't have this information when I had her. And so I thought I was doing good by giving her, you know, like I was making her own food. So I would make her own food, but I would also give her Cheerios. Well, I recently learned that like there's glyphosate in Cheerios, and I wouldn't even give that to my son now. But I didn't have that awareness back then. And so I hope that this message can inspire other people to, once they have this awareness, they can start doing things a little differently. And that's what I did from my first daughter to my son. And before I had him, I wanted to get my body as healthy as I could, because what I learned is we pass down our genetic strengths and weaknesses to our kids. And so when you get your body in the best condition, then you can pass that healthier genetics down. And one of my favorite teachers says, genetics loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. So even though if you didn't have this information before you had kids, it's all about your lifestyle, and you can transform that. And I'm a living proof of, I now don't wake up with that pain anymore. I can stand up straight. The shoulder isn't stuck anymore. I don't blame it on my dad, or I used to blame like dark circles and bags under my eyes from my grandma. Like that's all can go away when we change our lifestyle. And so that's a little bit of the story or background as far as why I got into this was for my own healing. And then what I realized is, oh my gosh, people have no idea about the true regeneration of the body. If we understand how, if we can give it the right condition, it can heal itself. And then not only that, but we can pass down stronger genetics to our kids. And what really hit me about this was, when kids are born with like leukemia and kids are obese, it's not like in different diseases, these diseases just don't come out of the blue. We create them unconsciously because we didn't know this information, and our parents didn't know this information. And so I really want to just get this information out for those who are ready. And I feel like when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. And that's what I felt when I met Dr. Morse. Is I was ready. I was ready to take my health to another level. I was sick of going to the doctor, and I knew a pill wouldn't fix it. And I wanted to get to the root of it. And just getting back into the basics of what our bodies are designed to have and clean it out. And it's not just about eating healthy, because that's what I thought before. I was eating really healthy whole foods, and why am I not getting better? It's a lot about what we don't eliminate, we accumulate. And so if we've never really thoroughly cleansed our body, that's a really great place to start. And that's where I started, and that really opened so many doorways of healing and so many life-changing events from that, just taking really good care of yourself and being a good example for your kids. And then once you learn this lifestyle kind of transition, it's so great to just start your kids on the right path right away. And so that's what I'm doing with my son. Is I have this awareness, and now I know if he, or one question I would like to ask is, like, if people are feeding their kids and they're suffering with congestion all the time, or ear infections, or stomach aches, or constipation, to always ask why, and to wonder, like, to correlate and connect the dots of what certain foods maybe are causing that, or different lifestyle things. And so that's what I had to do for my own self. And now I want to be that good example for my kids. So that way, when they leave the house, they'll know exactly what foods help them and what foods maybe can cause like inflammation in the body and congestion.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. It's really cool, Carrie, how, Rita had a very similar story. And I know I had similar story, and so many people that find Dr. Morse, and we all say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like the moment I saw it, or whatever, this kind of information, I just knew that was the missing link. I remember, to me, it wasn't Dr. Morse right away. I actually found Dr. Douglas Graham, the 80-10-10 diet, the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember reading that, and I felt, oh, I just found God. Like I'm reading the Bible. That's how it felt to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dr. Morse came shortly after. And then ever since then, it's definitely Dr. Morse. And so I just love how it's such a common thread that we all have. And what we see for people is, oh, there's that one missing link. And of course, it's not just one size fits all. But the fact that, like you said, and this is what this group is all about, is like true health, right? How do we attain and maintain true health is actually cleansing first, detoxing first, cleaning the body from all, even genetic weaknesses, strengthening the cells, strengthening the constitution, and then we can rebuild, we regenerate, we rebuild, and then we actually experience true health. And from that place, we can pass it on to the next generation. So I'm really curious to hear from you, Carrie, because you have 2 or 3 children.
Two.
2.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the age of your daughter, right? She was the first one
Mm-hmm.
when you had that big shift.
Well, when I got pregnant, I immediately wanted to be healthier. I think all moms want, what's best for their kid. And so I just started to be a little bit more conscious of what I was putting in my body. At that point, I didn't know this level, but I was still trying to be healthy um, and feeding her. And that's why I was like, I don't want to do preservatives or hydrogenated oils or high fructose corn syrup. And I remember I went through a phase of, if it was organic, I thought it was healthy. So I'd get like organic cookies and
Yes.
that was okay. So I went through this organic phase of if it's that. And then I didn't realize, how to regenerate the body. I was just trying to be as healthy as I thought with the information I knew, which I didn't have this level. So with her, I did the best I could, but I still alleviate, I've never given her any immunizations, and she never gets sick. She's 13 years old, never been on antibiotics. And most people are like, that's unheard of. And if she does get sick, I can relate it back to what she ate. I'm like, okay, what did you have? Cause now that she's older, I just try to empower her to make the right, the conditions that are best for her. So I'm not like a crazy, you only can have, this type of food, but I want to empower her. So when she leaves the house, she doesn't go from one extreme to the next. And, it's nice because she's put herself on cleanses if she feels she needs to, like she knows her body. And that's such a great gift as a mom to like teach your kid that. So she didn't suffer with weight like I did. She didn't suffer with the constipation. She didn't suffer with the ear infections, because I know how to get rid of, how to heal that naturally. And that's like one of the easiest things to get better with, once people understand that. So, and then with my son, it's totally different. And so I noticed when I was nursing him, even if I had something I normally don't, or that I gave into an indulgence, I could see the reaction right away. And so a lot of women that are nursing thinking they're doing a good thing for their baby, they actually could be congesting their baby further if they don't start to connect the dots of like dairy and gluten. Sometimes babies are sensitive to that, and so when babies are crying for no reason or having all this stuff, there's a reason for that. With my daughter, I didn't have this awareness, and she ended up getting really bad baby acne. That didn't happen with my son. And my recovery with her was a lot longer than it was for my son, with weight, with everything. And so I thought I was being healthy, and a lot of people already thought I was healthy before, but it wasn't like how I am now. And now I feel I'm way older, and I feel like I heal faster than I did back then.
Oh my God. I love it. I love the story that you have, Carrie, because you actually have 2 kids, and one that you were not so much on this path that you are now with baby number 2. And I actually got to meet Carrie's boy at the event, and he's like, oh, he's a solid, he's strong, he's awake, he's aware, he's friendly. And it's just, you can see the how he vibrates from
Mm-hmm.
the inside out, which is amazing. And what you brought up at that point is something that I see in so many. I don't have babies myself, but in my friends and things that I know, like, this is not how it's meant to be. Like, babies cry all the time or have all kind of issues. And I would love for you to speak a little bit more about nursing and mama's milk, because that is it's crucial that moms don't put the 2 together, that actually what they feed themselves goes into the breast milk, and then the baby receives that, and then there's issues.
Yeah. Yes. And so I had a friend who, her baby had major eczema, and I was like, stop eating dairy, because it directly correlates. And so for her next one, she reduced that and didn't have that same problem. So it does really make a big difference. I've met other mamas who said they can't eat like nuts, soy, eggs, gluten, all these things they cut out while they're nursing, but then incorporated it back in later. But I give them respect for stopping that to take good care of their baby. But yeah, it has a direct correlation, because I can't remember what I ate with Sunny. I think I had something and it affected him, and I knew right away. And I was like, yep, I'm done. I think it must have been gluten or something like that. And I noticed he had an upset stomach, and then it was like worth it for me not to touch that again. And so, yeah, it's what we do eat does have a direct effect on our kids. And breast milk is great if the mom is eating well. And if they're not, definitely it's better than formula. Otherwise, if you can get more of a natural formula, which I don't know of one, but breast milk is the best when we eat really healthy. And so hopefully this can start connecting dots for moms who maybe are nursing and not understanding why their baby's not sleeping well, or having, crying with stomach stuff, and they don't, because they can't communicate with you, or skin stuff, if there's skin stuff. And it could not just be about what we're eating, it's the environment too that we have our kids in. It could be like household cleaners and all these different toxins that we can be exposed to, like mold and different things. So it's good to look at not just what we're bringing in our body, but what's in our environment, what's in our home.
Yeah, 100%. That kids are so much more sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you eat really clean and your body is clean, and then you are sensitive like a baby. Like I know that for myself. Like, I can smell things for miles. I can't go into chlorinated swimming pools. I can smell the chlorine, literally a mile away. And just like, and we get desensitized, right, as adults, but we actually can be as sensitive as children if we keep our bodies clean. So I really love that you brought that up, just the environmental factors. And what I'm curious to hear from you, Carrie, because I'm sure you're also, as a detoxification specialist, that you have clients that you work with, women that either are in the process of conceiving, wanting to conceive, thinking about conceiving, in early stages of pregnancy, or maybe later stages. Like, what do you give your clients? What do you tell people that come to you and say, like, okay, I want to conceive and I would like to get my health in order? So
Yeah.
what's the first, and I know it's a very broad question because it depends on the person's
Yeah.
history and lifestyle, but just kind of as a general thing, what would
Yeah.
you say?
Yeah. And if it were me if it were me, again, I would want to get my body in the best condition. Or a client, I would say, if you have the time to take several months, at least 3 months, if you can, to get your body cleaned out. So cleansing is really, really important to make sure the doorways of all our elimination channels are open. So making sure the colon's cleaned out, the lymphatic system to the kidney connection is cleaned out, because that's really, really important. And actually so important. I could just share a little story about how I got back around to the kidneys, and the kidney health is incredibly important. I feel like a subject that's not talked about enough. And in August, my dad recently passed from kidney failure, and my older sister, she had kidney reflux, so she had some genetic kidney stuff too. And she wanted to go to school to be a doctor to figure out why she was in this chronic pain. And she ended up passing away when she was 20 from a car accident. And but I knew she wanted to help people figure out what was happening with her. And then seeing my dad suffer with his kidney stuff, like, brought me back to, in my search for the truth about health, the missing link for me was opening up that eliminative channel in my lymphatic system and the kidney connection. And once I got my kidneys to open up and filter, so many things got better. And it's kind of like a blessing full circle of, like, how that they both had kidney stuff. and they're both passed, but now how I came back, and now I'm helping people in that way. So I hope that this story can help inspire people to take care of their health, because my sister suffered all her 20 years of having major kidney pain, and suffered a lot and wanted to figure out why. And then my dad, he had to be on dialysis, and that was, a horrible journey to witness. And we can avoid all these things had we known the warning signs that our body gives us. And so my dad's warning signs were, chronic back pain. That's what I had. I also grew up with bladder infections and kidney infections as well. And opening up this doorway of elimination is so important. And if women can do this before they conceive is huge, on top of cleaning out the GI tract and getting their body into optimal state. So when I do a health questionnaire, they fill out all these questions, which I'm sure you do too. And if all the yeses, if there's a long list of symptoms that they have, I'm going to want to see a lot of those go to no before, ideally before they conceive, is to get their body in a balance. So cleanse for I would say at least 3 months if you can. And then to really regenerate the body and then balance out. And then, then you're conceiving and that's what I did. I actually cleansed for a long time. And then I wanted to conceive in a more conscious way. And I got pregnant on the first try, and didn't have the weight issues like I had with the first one, and just a lot of things were better in that way. And I healed faster, and my energy, the sleep thing, I was so exhausted with my first daughter. And I took a long time to heal. With my son, I didn't need as much sleep. Like, you still want to sleep, but it wasn't the same exhaustion level. And so that's another thing is, so back to your question, I would recommend to do at least a 3-month protocol to clean the body out in a good way. And that way you're ready to conceive. And it depends on, like you said, what people have going on, for sure. But if it were me, I would do that again, because I felt so much better. And once I got my body into that balance, it made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. And Carrie, I'm curious also to hear about the labor. Was it easier with your second son?
So I ended up having 2 C-sections. I wanted to do the whole natural route. So this was really hard for me because I'm into natural everything. But my daughter was breech, and so they wouldn't deliver her like that. And I didn't know anyone who would deliver a breech baby. I tried to do everything to turn her, but that didn't happen. And so she was a scheduled C-section. And so I never had any labor. I don't even know what a contraction feels like. I wish I could share more about that experience, because I feel like, that would have been nice to compare. And then with my son, I ended up having to have him 3 weeks early, and they were either going to induce a C-section or induce labor or schedule a C-section. I went back and forth for a long time. That's a whole nother story. But I ended up having a C-section with him too. Now looking back, I would have done things different, but he's here and healthy. And he was actually born 4 pounds and 15 ounces. So, because he was early, but he's totally gained all that. You see him. He's like
yes.
a kid. So, yeah. And sometimes when we have our kids, it's not what we think, with whether it's how the labor goes or how, if we have to have a C-section. But with most people that do this type of work, do report that the labor is better and they have not as much pain. And so, I wish I could share that story, but I don't have that story. But I know women who do have that story, and it is a big difference.
Yeah, it's okay. And maybe, I'll have a story about that in a year or two. That's amazing. And Carrie, what kind of lifestyle you have with your kids now, and especially with Sunny, because I know your daughter is a little older, but with Sunny, what does he love fruits just naturally, right? I would guess so, right? Yeah. So what's the kind of lifestyle that you have with him?
Yeah, he loves smoothies, so he eats a lot of smoothies. It's actually his birthday today.
Oh my God! Yay! Happy birthday!
Yeah, he's 2, and so this morning I was like, he loves fire and blowing stuff out, and so I stuck a couple candles into pieces of watermelon, and saying happy birthday to him like that this morning. And so I do a lot of fruits. He's actually mainly fruit. mainly fruit, and he loves coconut water and coconut meat, and what else does he like? He likes squash and sweet potatoes, and but yeah, he's mostly fruit, and he's all plant-based, but mostly heavy on the fruit side and smoothies. And then I also do shakes, like the power shake, that are superfoods that are from regenerative practices with the soil, which is really, really important to get that nourishment in the kids too, which is really, really convenient to have those shelf-stable superfoods available for them.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, and so I do incorporate that, and he loves that as well.
Yeah. Wow. So he's mainly fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fruit and some. I do. I get this sourdough teff bread, so it's like the more alkaline of it, and he likes avocado toast, so that's like his treat. Um, but yeah, he is a mainly a fruit baby.
Amazing. And again, I just wanted to say, because I met Sunny, and he is so strong. I'm shocked that he's 2. I thought he was more like 3 or 4.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
little guy, like he's so solid.
yeah. He's little, but he's mighty. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yes, totally, totally. Amazing, Carrie. And so what, um, I guess you'd say, advice or recommendation, or what would you tell parents or mothers that want to make a shift? First steps to making a shift.
Yeah,
What
that's
would
a great.
that be?
I think it starts with awareness first of like, and then education. Um, I remember about 8 years ago, I was living in Puerto Rico with my daughter, and that's when I started to really dive deep into the health realm of things. And I watched a documentary called Forks Over Knives, and that helped shift a lot of things for me, because I had no idea about factory farms and how animals were raised and all that stuff. So I think education is really important, of understanding where our food comes from, whether it's plant-based or if people choose to have animals, to like at least be conscious of where we purchase things, because we vote with our dollar. And when you're buying like GMO foods and chemically, all the foods that have a lot of chemicals on them, then we're saying we want more of that. And that's really harmful for not only our own bodies, but the health of the planet. And we're at a stage now where our health is vital and vitally important. It's more now than ever, and the health of our planet. And so really, really learning about where our food comes from. Planting a garden is a nice thing to do too, if you can, to teach your kids like how food is grown. I remember my grandma taking me in her garden, and she had a pear tree, and I loved that I could just pick stuff. So she planted these seeds in me of like the amazingness of the freshness of the food, that we can just go in our backyard and eat it. And so I now have a little food forest in my own backyard. And I was a firm believer, like everybody should just grow their own food. And being in Minnesota, you can't do that all year round. And so, but I do, Sonny knows what to go out and pick and eat. And so I teach him about plants. You know, I teach him what herbs he can eat, and he goes out and picks sorrel and clovers and dandelion. Like he knows what he can have, which is really cool to teach at a young age. So yeah, it starts with educating. There's so many documentaries now, and with all this stuff with the internet, you can find a lot of things. And Dr.Morse's book is incredible. So if people have not read that or seen his videos like that, you could learn a lot just right there. And then educate, plant garden, being a good example for your kids. So not just trying to feed your kids good, but they're going to model what they see. And so it starts with you, and it starts with the parents of taking care of their own body and their own health, and then your kid will naturally want to follow that. And so yeah, that would be. And then starting your day with something hydrating. Once you learn, you know, the details of the lymphatic system, and what causes damage to a cell, and what causes, you know, the cleansing process, well, you'll learn that fruits are very, very important for the cleansing. And even just on a vibrational level, if you want your kid, or if you want to have good energy, of eating like foods that have the highest vibration, is a lot of fruits. And so they come with all the antioxidants, the the nutrients, the astringent properties to help cleanse. And so if somebody's just starting out, start with whatever fruit that your kid likes. So it could be a smoothie, it could be, cut up watermelon for breakfast, but keeping it really simple, as they don't need to have a ton of different things on one meal. So yeah, starting with something hydrating in the morning is a really great place to start. And for Sonny, it's easy for him to drink a smoothie or chop up, watermelon for him to eat, or something like that. So that's what and then I always pack food. That's another thing, is I always bring food where I go. So then you're not tempted to go to like a fast food place or just get snacky stuff. You can always have that fruit is like the best fast food. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because that's something that I share with people a lot, is just make sure you have things with you so you don't go, you feel hungry and then there's nothing else and you end up buying something not so great. Yeah. Oh my God. I really love that, Carrie. Thank you so much for sharing. And if people want to find you, is there a website or that they
Yeah.
can? Yeah.
Health Balance Love is my website, or you can find it under carrietidwell.com. They both will direct you to the healthbalancelove.com website.
Awesome. And Carrie also is on Instagram, so you can follow her there. And what's your Instagram name?
It's Carrie Tidwell.
Okay.
I think it's Carrie-Tidwell, but it's pretty easy to find me on Instagram there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then if any of you here watching curious about, because this is going to go in the group, this is on YouTube. So if you're listening to this video, and if you have any questions, you can please type that either right now, or if you're watching this later, you can type your questions in the comments. And if you are curious to know more about regenerative healing and regenerative detoxification and all the things that Carrie and I talked about, Dr. Morse primarily, you can find Dr. Morse on YouTube. And like Carrie said, he has bazillion of videos with a lot of incredible information. His book is called The Miracle Source Book.
Miracle Detox Source Book.
Miracle Detox. Yeah. I don't have it with me, but it's going to come. It's going to be with me soon.
The Detox Miracle Source Book. That's
yes. Thank you. Thank
it's
you.
upstairs. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. So that's a phenomenal book. And just like Carrie said, awareness is the first step. And for all of us, that's how we begin. And then to start asking the questions, like just put the dots together, especially when you have children. This is our birthright. We are designed to be healthy. We're designed to experience radiant health, and especially our kids. So these days we see the ear infections, the digestive issues, sleep issues, mental and emotional issues that kids have, teeth issues. Like I have friends that they took their son to the dentist. He's 3. I'm like, oh my God. And it's all a sign of weak genes, and not something to say like, oh, okay, it's normal, but actually what's going on here? So just like Carrie did, she started digging deeper, like, let me find the root. I'm not just going to accept that, oh, this is how things are. And also because my dad is like that, or my grandma is like that, or my mom is like that, then that means that I am going to be like that. And then my kids are going to have the same thing. This is what I mean when I say the power is in our hands, is that we can reverse genetic weaknesses, right? But it does require awareness. It requires a good intention, and then actually taking the steps. So one of my teachers say that in the age that we're living in, ignorance is a choice. Because with all the information that is available to us, the issue, it may be that there's misinformation. There's too much information. So to decipher and be aware of what is true information, and I know that can be a pretty philosophical conversation as well, but this is what I believe to be the way nature was intended, has been intended for us as humans. And the fact that we are seeing so many health issues within our society and in our children, and it's just getting worse and worse, it's a sign, and it's a request of us to wake up, to rise up, and start making different choices. So that's the intention for me with this group, is to bring more awareness, to bring people like Carrie that live in that way, that has the experience, that has shifted so much in her life, and now is passing it on to her children, which is so like when you said that he goes out in the garden and he picks the clover and the dandelion, and I just saw that image, and to me that's the Garden of Eden, is that every child and every person knows how to go outside, and if it's the backyard or if it's just whatever, and we just pick things off the trees and the gardens, and that's what this planet was intended to be. And it's really important that we do focus on the children, because they are learning from us and they are going to mimic us, just like Carrie said. And so to have the next generations healthy in body, mind, and spirit as well. So it starts with us.
Yes, for sure. And it's yeah, and once we know this information, we all want to do better for our kids, and that's like what I did for my daughter and my son. And and you know, we could just keep passing down stronger and stronger and really heal the planet in that way. And it starts with us and this awareness. And so yeah, thank you so much, Noah, and bringing this conversation together. And I hope that it can inspire people to just take a deeper look at maybe some warning signs that they have in their body, and getting to the root. And always ask why. That was another thing one of my teachers had shared with me, is always ask why and get to the root of things. But the body is amazing at healing when we give it the right condition.
Yes. That's what I always say as well. Fantastic. Yeah. And if you are a woman that is even thinking about conceiving, maybe it's not this year, but maybe it is 2 years from now or whatever, you can start right now. What Carrie said about if you are looking to conceive, to at least give yourself 3 months, that's like the bare minimum. For most of us, it's actually years to cleanse, to go deep into the cells and cleanse and regenerate, because it's not just about cleansing, it's the regeneration, it's the rebuilding, that then your body is strong enough to grow a human that is healthy. So that would be definitely something I would like to inspire those of you that are watching, and maybe you have a friend that is looking to conceive. Any woman that knows that she would like to have kids, I would say start right now. Like, take this video as an inspiration and start right now. Just start cleansing, start shifting things in your body. And of course, I'll be offering more videos here in the group about how to do that, because we can't cover all of it in one conversation. But yeah, even if it just sparks your curiosity to look into, well, what can I do to prepare my body for a healthy environment for growing a baby.
Yeah. And one more major thing that I didn't know until I was pregnant with Sunny was my abdominal massage. And I did that throughout my pregnancy, but I would have done that before. And that can be helpful along with cleansing. And then if you go to a Arvigo, my abdominal practitioner, they teach you self-care technique that you do on yourself. And so it's kind of like, just like you go to the dentist, you still have to brush and floss your teeth in between appointments. This is the same type of work. And this type of work is really good for digestion and fertility. A lot of people come to this type of treatment for fertility. But it's even great for guys for prostate health, and just making sure there's no congestion and things are flowing and your uterus is in the right position. And just really connecting back with your womb space, because this is like where we birth life, where we birth ideas, creativity. And it's such a beautiful practice to do. I do this in the mornings on my own self still. And it's great to do before, during, after, whether you are trying to conceive or not. It's great for everybody, but especially women who want to conceive and might be having a difficult time.
Oh, wow, Carrie, I'm so glad you brought it up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that you do with clients as well?
Yeah. Yep. That's something I do with clients. My abdominal therapist as well. And that's been really, really helpful. And I could share a quick story about somebody
Please.
who had one of my first clients, actually, and she shares her story a lot if anyone's ever met Carrie Drinkwine. But she had Hashimoto's and lupus and suffered a lot with a lot of digestive stuff. And she had 5 miscarriages and struggled a lot to keep a baby. And she was spending thousands of dollars on different naturopaths and going to different places, spending thousands of dollars on supplements and all these things. And it wasn't until she came to get a massage for me, and I was like, just finishing school, and I was like, I really think I can help you. I feel like this is the information that we're missing, because she had her master's in nutrition. She was already helping people with health. She was, a vegan, like she was, preparing food for people. And so, most people looked at her as like extremely healthy. And even I did. I was like, you eat healthier than I did when I thought I was healthy. And so it was just that missing link of like getting out the waste. Like nobody has ever taken this time. We think about cleaning out our house and our car, and no one thinks to clean our internal environment to make way for a baby. And so we did a consultation, and we went through everything, and it made sense. And she just like jumped on board and went all in and healed her body in a short time, and now has a beautiful daughter and one on the way. And her story is really, really powerful and incredible of her healing journey. And then she got inspired to go to Dr.Morse school, and now she's helping thousands of people. And just so the beautiful ripple effect of taking care of yourself, you have no idea how many people that can impact. So yeah, and it starts with yourself, and it starts with you. And so no matter what your husband or wife or spouse or whatever anyone's doing, you can start with yourself, because this was really, really a hard journey for me at first, because nobody was doing it. And I felt like the odd one out, but now nobody can take away the truth, because I've experienced that in my own body, and nobody can tell me that eating a ton of fruit is bad for me or too much sugar. And there's a lot of myths with that. And now I eat a really high fruit diet, and I feel the best when I do that. So yeah, I just wanted to share that of a story of somebody who has done it and healed her body in a short time.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm probably going to bring Carrie to do an interview here as well, because her story is so inspiring, and I know your connection is so amazing. Mm-hmm. And I love the Dr. Morse connection, and how we're all, together in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was something that you just said that Rita and I talked about as well. Just when you start with this lifestyle, you do feel like the weird one, you kind of have your fruit on the side. And I believe pretty much every single one of us experienced that along the way. Like, okay, I'm going to be the weird one eating my fruit. Mm-hmm. And for me, my vision, what I'm seeing is that, again, we're going to change what normal is.
Yes.
That it maybe in the future, it's somebody with their, like, I don't know, donuts and pizza going to be I'm going to go and like, okay, I'm going to be the weird one eating the pizza, and everybody else is feasting on fruit. Right. Or just, it's just, people can do whatever they want to do. But the fact that it's still considered to be like, oh, you're the weird one eating the fruit. Like, it's still something that people would say to me.
Yeah. That's a real thing for sure. And that's, you go through layers of getting over what people think. And I even had to experience that with, a family member that kept saying, no, just have this. And I didn't want to be rude. So then I had it. And then I was like, why did I keep falling into that trap just to please somebody? And then I suffer later. So hopefully that can be inspiring for people to hear of, it's a process for sure. And in doing the cleansing stuff, a lot of emotional stuff comes up, and forgiveness stuff, and all these beautiful things. And another story of forgiveness is I had to do that with my dad. And I'm so grateful I did all this work 5 years ago, because I had 5 amazing years with my dad versus holding on to that resentment from childhood. So forgiveness is huge, and emotions come up, and it's good to get all that out before you have a baby, because all kinds of stuff can happen when you get pregnant and all that. So it's best to be strong, so that way you can go in confident and birth a baby feeling healthy and connected in that way. And my abdominal massage is really, really helpful to connect back to, and then you feel too if certain things are inflammatory, because you feel the pain, right, as you're working on yourself. And so you really get in touch with yourself. And so so many women have this negative thing with their bellies, or I grew up like that too, of like just shameful of like looking in the mirror and being like, oh, I'm fat, or oh, I'm this. And then I went from the opposite side of being really on the heavier side to when I was cleansing really, really deeply, people were like, you're too skinny. And so I've had both, which is weird, to be on both ends, but I'm a lot more compassionate and sensitive and to wherever somebody is at, and really like to meet people where they're at and not pressure anyone to do anything. I feel like we're here to just share the information. If it resonates, awesome. And if not, that's okay. At least people know there's another way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. That's amazing, Carrie. And I would absolutely love to receive a session with you one day when I'm in the Minnesota area. And if you are in the Minnesota area, and we are after the quarantine, then go and see Carrie for sure.
Yeah. Thank you, Noah. Yeah, I'll have to come see you in Hawaii again.
Yeah, so exactly. Or you can come here. That's even better.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, especially in the winter. I like to get out of here and go somewhere warm.
Yeah, somewhere warm that you can drink coconuts and eat papayas.
Yeah, it's a lot easier with that lifestyle in a tropical place for sure.
100%. Yeah. Well, Carrie, thank you so much, love. I really appreciate you. And again, you guys, if you're watching this later and you have any questions, please type it in the comments. I'll come back and answer the questions. You can find Carrie on her website, carrietidwell.com. Or what was the other site?
That'll take you.
That will take you.
carrietidwell.com.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And then on Instagram as well. Yeah, and again, especially if you're a woman that looking to conceive, maybe pregnant now, or just looking to change some things and prepare yourself for your second or your third or your fourth pregnancy, it's never too late. Absolutely never too late. And kids also, they're so malleable, you know, and they'll just follow you. So it all starts with you. You are the source, and the kids will follow you. And the thing is that kids naturally are attracted to fruits. That will be their first choice, always.
Yeah, that, and then starting them on the right path too, because I have a lot of moms that are like, my kid just wants macaroni and cheese, but like I wouldn't even start that, because they'll start getting these addictions, and like I said, I had major sugar addiction, so it's nice to get them started on the right path from the beginning so that they don't have that. So another good thing to do is to just bring what you want them to have in your home, and so don't bring in the sugary cereals and the yogurts and the macaroni and cheese and stuff like that, because then they won't develop a taste for it.
Exactly. Yeah, children are just pure when they're born, and they'll gravitate towards the fruit before they get conditioned with other things, and then again watching their parents and society and all of that. So it's actually easier than you think, right? It's just shifting some of the mental conditioning.
For sure. Yeah, the mental conditioning is, I had to do that with my own self.
I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. So Carrie, thank you so much. Thank you for those that have been watching us here live, and leave your comments later if you're watching the replay, and I will see you next week. Gonna have another guest on the Tuesday. So enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, and I will see you later. Thank you, Carrie.
Yeah, thank you, Noah.
Sweet. Awesome, love. Thank you.
Welcome.
So great.
Yes, no, I'm so grateful that you're putting this together and getting this information out for people.
Yeah, it's time. Really. I mean, really, Carrie, for me, and it's been years, and like I've been living this way and with dr.morse for so many years, and even though I don't have kids on my own, but it's the knowing that I've always had. And when I see friends with kids, and God, the challenges that they have, and the health challenges with their children, and I'm like, oh, where do I begin? You know, like where's my place, and what to share with parents, and just to know, like, you don't need to experience that with your child.
Yeah, for sure. I know, and I could have dove deeper on the glyphosate thing too, of how that affects with autism and different cancers, and how, but hopefully people get the gist of
exactly. I mean, there's so much to cover that we definitely need 6 hours, 6 days, but I would love to have more conversations, and to invite you again, and we can be more specific and talk about glyphosate or talk about,
Yeah. Or
whatever
you
it
can
is.
see what questions people have that come up and then can be more specific on lifestyle. I just didn't want to dive too deep into it without, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, people
Yeah.
will probably want to search for Dr. Morse and watch his videos and learn.
Yeah, I feel for me, it's really the biggest focus with this group is to just get people onto that track.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can dive deeper into some other things, but at least to, debunk the myth about fruits and sugar, which I'll be just doing videos on that, and just get people on the right track.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, check this out.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, are you still wanting to record it?
Oh yeah, that we can stop the recording. We're not on Facebook anymore, but I'm going to stop the recording. Yeah.